Gang. Hope you are very well. Welcome back to another fucking daily vlog. Hope you are very well. So, this morning woke up at 69.1, which is point 0.1 up on yesterday, which is good. We did have them 2 carb meals at the back end of yesterday, which were glorious. Very technically, they are actually my first, I suppose it would be like formal carbohydrates in 96 hours. So yeah, for that 96 hours I basically had like, I suppose, like trace carbs, but I didn't have any like formal carbohydrates. So like things like sweet potatoes and like, I suppose, like cereal and rice and stuff like that. Yeah, I haven't had that, or hadn't had that in 96 hours, which was, yeah, like very tough like here, but we got it done. And yeah, yesterday's meal was just extraordinary. Woke up this morning, checked in with AJ. POA is the same in terms of like calories and stuff like that. So we're basically running exactly the same day in terms of nutrition. So yeah, you're basically all filled in. I did try and catch up with work this morning because obviously, as you know, we had some technical malfunctions in terms of, yeah, obviously the how I check in and stuff like that. Obviously a bit of admin work wasn't done yesterday, so I basically just went, fuck it, I'm gonna go to Cambridge, sat in Starbucks for ages, and then did some work, which is fantastic. And then I also got Nat's presents, which means I don't have to order it online, which is even better. So we're gonna go through a YouTube Q&A, and then we're gonna get back onto our regular scheduled program in terms of the daily vlogs. Tomorrow's vlog and the day after, they're gonna be official like start of like, I suppose, refeeding, or I suppose it would be loading in carbohydrates. So I think technically they're going to be fun vlogs. This one's going to be more of a boring one. But I think like a lot of the questions right here are actually regarding like, what are you doing post show and how to attack post show, which I think is actually quite valuable for people who are competing like now, this year, next year, whatever, just to refer back to this. Because quite essentially, I'm going to talk about a few things regarding like how I'm going to set stuff up, and things you should obviously look out for in terms of obviously going from a prep to an off season. So we're just going to go into it, and hopefully it's of some value to you guys. So a lot of the questions are going to be very samey, so I'm going to try and pick out like 4 or 5 very different ones within the subject. So a lot of questions on what are your future plans in terms of like competitions and off seasons. And I suppose, yeah, is there like a next competition year? For me, I am like very likely not going to compete for another 3 years. There's a few reasons for this, but quite simply, at least 3 years. And if I'm not happy with how my physique looks after 3 years of an off season, I'm not going to compete until another like year or 2 after that. I'm in no rush. I basically dieted like 2014, 2015, 2017, 2018, 2021, 2023. It's like I just need to grow. So the more time I spend in the off season, the better my physique looks. So yeah, like there's like, we're not doing another competition this year. This is it. This is basically the one on Sunday. That's it. I'm done. I was going to try and hang it out and long it out until July, where you got the WMBF show, but I just don't want to do it, pretty much. Even if I think win the show this weekend, like theoretically I'll win the show, the category, overall, and then get invited to Worlds, I'm still not going to do it, because I just need time to grow. And to be honest, like the Worlds, UK DFBA Worlds, is no joke. Like it's no fucking joke, and I know my physique is at, I know what I'm capable of, I know what I can bring, and I'm just not on that level yet, which is absolutely fine, because obviously in the off season we're gonna try and improve that. But yeah, for right now, obviously I know my physique is at. I suppose like revealing it all on Sunday is gonna really show me where I'm at. But yeah, I have an absolute plan to get out of this and into an off season as soon as possible. So next competition year, 3 years from now at least, and that's 3 years in an off season. So this is like, I'm not talking about 2026 I'm gonna step on stage. It's like 2026 is probably realistically when I'm going to start the diet. So yeah, that kind of gives you again a good indication of where my head's at in terms of the off season. I just need to grow. So what's been the hardest point in prep? I'll be very, very, very real. The last 2 weeks have been like the toughest. At the same time, I don't think it's necessarily been overly hard. It's obviously been hard, but essentially, like, I have been through preps and kind of like, I suppose, fat loss phases before, so I kind of know what to expect, and it's everything that I expected it to be. So, and obviously, like, the first time you compete and the first time you kind of diet down is going to be the hardest, and then after a while, it's just not easy, but it's definitely easier. And also, you can take, I suppose, preps to very, very dark places because you just categorically know that you can handle it, like, body wise. Like, you're not going to die, right, from not having carbs for 96 hours, for example, right? Because you've been there and done it, right? I think it's all up here, like, being in prep. It's not necessarily that, I suppose, like, the physical element, although that is tough as well, but it's more so this. So yeah, obviously it's been tough, it's been rough, but life is tough and life is rough. So yeah, in terms of post-show meal, what are we having? I'll be very real. Like all men's physique competitors, and I'm sure if you're a men's physique competitor, you can agree to this. Every federation or every single, I suppose it would be federation, in the whole entire world hates men's physique athletes, so they put them on really late. So I'll be very real, we're probably going to like step on stage at about 7 o'clock. So there is no real time to be like, oh yeah, let's step on stage, and by the time we're back home, it's probably gonna be like 10 o'clock. So I'll be very real, it'll probably just be a Domino's because it's just fucking easy. So yeah, one thing that a lot of like prep athletes do, and I suppose like people who compete, is like become so fixated on that post-show meal that it's all they fucking think about. So the last 3 weeks, they're looking at areas and burger places around this area, and like they kind of miss the whole point in that like actual prep. It's like the whole point in prepping is obviously to give your all into like cardio, into like training, into recovery and stuff like that, right? And then all they're doing is putting all of their energy into like, what am I eating post show? And it's just like, if you actually focused on that last little like stretch, you might come in a little better, right? So yeah, again, like I said yesterday, I'm definitely not one of those people that really care that much about eating post show. It's just, and that's not even like that's not even lying. It's just a case of like, yeah, that I just don't care too much. Obviously, I'll look forward to eating a Domino's, but it's more so from a social aspect of like eating meals with Nat, for example. That's what I'm more so looking forward towards. But yeah, I'm definitely not one of these people who like scout areas to fucking eat and stuff like that. I think we have a day planned out with me and Nat where we're basically going into town and just basically going for dinner somewhere. I think Nat's sorting that out, but yeah, it's not one of them things where I overly care too much. I'm just excited for the whole off season as a whole, not just for one meal. So, tips for someone doing their first show next year. Yeah, good. I mean, you're thinking about your first show, right? So if this is your first ever show, you are thinking about doing that show. So in my eyes, you're already in a better, I suppose, position than most people, because some people just turn around the next, like, I don't know, on Monday I'm going to start a prep. It's like, what the fuck? You haven't got anything aligned. You haven't got your body composition in the right place. You haven't got, like, I suppose, like, finances in the right place. You obviously, hopefully, have seen the vlog regarding like 5 things to get right before you start bodybuilding prep. It's a few vlogs back, so go and have a look at that if you haven't. But like, yeah, are you in a good position to prep in general? Is your life stress in a good place, right? Do you have a support network around you and stuff like that? So do you have a coach aligned for it? Because first time, I'm almost of the opinion now that if you're doing a show for the first time, it's like very, 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 very important that you get a coach. And not to say, look, tips for someone doing their first show, hire me, bitch. Not what I'm saying at all. Hire someone. And I don't care if it's me, I don't care if it's Joe, trained by Joe. I'm sure there's a fucking guy called Trained by Joe. There must be. Trained by Des, trained by Kev, trained by Les. They're all there. So I don't care who you select. Just pick someone who you know won't fuck you up. That's another one. And then yeah, basically go from there. And then you can just like reverse engineer everything. So say for example, you're competing this time next year, so the 28th of May 2024, that's when you're competing, right? So you can basically go, right, okay, we're going to have an off season until here, and then we're going to have a maintenance phase, we're going to have a cleanup phase, and then we're going into prep, right? Instead, it can get to a case of like you're 14 weeks out and you're like, I'm competing in May, and then you have to like rush towards getting there. And that will kill people. Like, it not actually like you won't die, but it does kill people, and it kills physiques. So yeah, in my opinion, if you're thinking about doing a show this time next year, it's like, number one, you're in a good spot already because you're already thinking about it. But grab someone, reverse engineer how you're going to get there, and then go and execute. Any regrets in this prep? Last time you mentioned you did. Absolutely none this year. The only regrets that I had in the last show or the last outing was I know that I could have got leaner. And I proved it because essentially, like, yeah, I'm way leaner now, and again, I'm not dead. So I know that I could have handled way more. In the last show, prep, whatever, I know that I could have handled a lot more, and I was kind of on stage like, I don't really feel like I deserve like the claps and stuff like that. And I was lean, but not to the point where I am now, where I'm like, when I step on stage on Sunday, I know categorically that I've done everything within my power to get to that stage, and that's a great feeling. Whereas before, it's kind of like, I'm not a fraud, I'm not like Mike Ross, but at the same time, I know I could have dug leaner. But that is, in my opinion, the difference between, I suppose, someone like who I was coached by and then AJ, and that's no like, I suppose, like shots fired at my old coach, because it's definitely not. But AJ has a way of getting the best out of every single athlete, and he's done that with me. So if he feels like we should push, we push. If he feels like we should pull back, we need to pull back. A lot of the times with me, it's like I need someone to pull me back. But there was a case in prep last time that I was getting pulled back a little bit too much, right? And AJ has pushed me when I needed to be and pulled me back when I needed to be, and we're in a good spot. So, yeah, that's kind of good. Last two, how will your off-season diet compare to prep? To be honest, the first stage of, I suppose, like the rebound. The next question is actually reverse or rebound. I'm going to rebound, then reverse. So we're going to push up like 5 to 10 pounds and then basically reverse out. Kind of makes the most sense. And then the structure of the diet will actually look very, very similar. Just with more food and then like more flexibility at the weekend, for example. Like I'll probably have like an off-plan meal with Nat. And then yeah, apart from that, it's actually going to be fairly static for a while. We definitely don't want to let that slip, because essentially what could happen is post show you let it all slip, and then in fucking like August you're thinking about a mini cut, and that's the worst thing that can happen to someone who has just dieted their ass off for like 21 weeks. Like they diet their ass off for 21 weeks, and then all of a sudden 3 months later after the show they're thinking of doing like a cleanup phase, and it's like, fuck me, mate. Like, you're probably not all, I suppose, there from a hormone panel perspective, right? And then you want to go back into a fucking deficit. It's like, yeah, we definitely don't want to do that. So diet is going to be very, very similar. It's just going to be obviously more food. So yeah, that's basically it. We're going to rebound and then reverse. So yeah, and the reverse is basically going to be just into a massing phase. So yeah, anyway, I'll leave you guys there. That's actually quite a long vlog, but anyway, I'll leave you guys there. I hope you're well, and I will see you in tomorrow's vlog, where we're going to be introducing fucking carbs, and I can't fucking wait. Hope you're well. Peace.